Welcome. This is a class all about using the stability ball and a block, and we will be getting on our hands. So we're going to start on our back. You can set your block and your ball off to the side. So a big part of lifting up vertically is core and glutes, like having everything on. So we're going to start with the heels of the hands and the tops of the thighs. Press them away. And then feel your belly and the space in between your hip points draw away from where the hands are pressing. So hands press in, pull away from that and down into the ground. Now keep lengthening in that way as you lift the hips up. So there's this lengthening happening from the pelvis to the ribs. Keep that action going. We'll reach the hands up to the sky. Spread your right fingers wide and pull back on those fingers with your left hand. Start with that and then lift and lower the heels. Now you can alternate the heels if you'd like to, or lift and lower both at the same time. We're doing this to get the fascia of the bottoms of the feet and the legs warmed up and the calves as well, because we'll be using them with this. And then take the thumb and pull back for a moment. Switch sides and let your heels come down. So pull back on your left fingers and then pulse the glutes, like the hips lower a little bit and lift. We want our pelvis to try to find a neutral position, because when we're aligned, we're able to get up and stay up, rather than what happens is if we're in an anterior tilt, which means the bottom of the pelvis would be going towards the ground right now, then our spine isn't as long as it could be, and we're not as integrated as we could be, because oftentimes the glutes are in a lengthened position, less likely to fire, and the core is in a lengthened position, less likely to fire, and they're harder to access. Take hold of the thumb, pull back. So think about your sits bones or the bottom of the pelvis reaching towards your knees here each time you come up. Bring the hands down. So everything on the backside should be talking to you. Again, we want neutral. So we would like our pubic bone and our ASISs, or our hip points, in the same line. And they're at a diagonal right now because our hips are lifted. So if they were in the same line and they were parallel to the mat, then you would be in an anterior tilt. And you'd feel like the glutes aren't really able, they're working, but they're not able to work as much as they could. Take one more breath. Whew. And then lower all the way down. Okay. Hands come behind the head. Elbows reach up to the sky. Now this is to get our deep core. Keep the feet down first. Take a breath in. Exhale and lift the shoulder blades off your mat. Now look down and do your best to keep the center pressing down. If the center is pooching up towards the sky, and I don't mean like your normal body, I mean the superficial muscles. If those are lifting, that's not our deep core. So we want to access what's below it. Again, think about your hip bones drawing towards one another. Keep the front ribs pulling in. You don't have to lift high to access this. Lower down, inhale. Exhale and lift. Now extend your left leg to the sky. And then think about pressing through the heel of the foot. Your knee can be bent a little or a lot, and actively pull down in the front. Rebend your left leg, lower down, inhale, exhale and lift. Right leg extends towards the sky. You can press through the heel of the foot, slight bend in the knee if you need to. Keep lifting, and again, keep everything engaged and controlled. Right leg lowers, inhale to lower, exhale and lift. Extend your left leg. Now turn a little bit to the left. It doesn't have to be a big twist. We want to keep everything the same way that it was in the front. And now when you turn to the left, maybe you reach your right arm past your left leg. And you might get this like gut-wrenching feeling in the belly. That's good. Bring it back to center. Lower your left leg down. Inhale to lower. Exhale and lift. Right leg extends towards the sky. Small turn to the right. Left arm reaches past your left leg. Try to lift the right shoulder blade off the mat the best you can. Bring it back to center, hand behind the head, lower down, inhale, exhale and lift. Extend your left leg to the sky, small turn to the left. Then maybe you extend your right leg, but remember, we're only doing that if everything else can stay how we wanted it. Right arm reaches past your left leg. Right hand behind the head, lower the right, lower the left, inhale to lower, exhale and lift. Right leg extends towards the sky, small turn to the right. Maybe the left leg extends, and it's not down to the ground, it's lifted either at 45 or a little bit closer to the right. Everything intact as you're lifted. And then bring it back, hand behind the head, lower the right, lower the left, lower down. Exhale and lift. Extend the left leg to the sky. Extend the right leg. Twist to the left, right arm reaches. Now, we're going to cross the legs, cross the upper thighs. Squeeze them towards one another. So now you're getting a little more into the pelvic floor via the inner thighs or the adductors. Bring it back, lower, inhale, exhale and lift. Small turn to the right, right leg extends, left leg extends. Cross the legs, actively press your pelvis down into the mat, left arm can reach. Whew. Hold, and then bring it back, lower the legs and lower. All right. Pull the knees in, rock forward and back. We're going to come forward into table. Take the forearms down to the ground so that the elbows are right under the shoulders. Now your forearms can stay parallel to one another or you can interlace the fingers. That's fine, and you can even let the hands come towards together. Okay, now push the forearms down and imagine spreading the shoulder blades apart. Like think about pushing so much into the ground that the shoulder blades spread apart on the back. Relax your neck. Hold that in the upper body. Curl your toes. Keep the core active and try and round through the back to lift the knees up. And then you can walk your feet in towards your elbows a little bit closer. Keep the knees bent. And then work the legs a little bit straighter, but keep pulling in the front of your body. The reason I'm cueing it this way is so that we don't dump into the back. Keep active in the front to create the length in your spine. And you can record yourself doing this as well. The space between the shoulders and your low back. Think about pulling into that area so that you are not collapsing there. A lot of times that space is, we're not as connected to it and we sink in the shoulders, right between underneath the shoulder blades. Keep pushing and pushing with the forearms, pulling in the front. Bend the knees as you need to. Take one more breath. Now, keep your right leg down. Lift the left leg. It's just going to come in line with your hip. So it's not super high. Keep pulling in the front. Left leg goes a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. So you're adding this instability, likely feeling the shoulders and your core and the left leg. Set your left foot down, right leg lifts in and out. Keep the right hip bone towards the ground, keeping your pelvis neutral and square to your mat. So it's optimal integration and ability for everything to work. Set your right foot down, lower the knees. Find child's pose for a moment. You can keep the elbows bent and take them out wide, or you can release the hands forward, your choice. One more inhale and exhale. Hands come forward. Pull yourself forward into table. Okay, now working on the shoulder blades for a moment. We're going to think about the shoulder blades pulling together. That's retraction. And then push and spread them apart, protraction. Pull them together, retraction, apart as protraction. Keep the core working. And then hold it in neutral. So in between those two. This is where we want our shoulder blades to be when we go up. So think about holding again in neutral. We're not going to round and we're not going to sink. So you should feel them be supported on the back. What might help you with that action is dialing the hands out, and that can get a little more integration from the torque in the shoulders. I'll check the neck. So we want the back of the head lifted so that the back of our head, our shoulder blades, and our sacrum are in one line. And the sacrum is the triangular bone at the base of the spine. So remember this feeling. Curl your toes, down dog. Step your left foot forward. The right knee lowers right under the hip. Inhale, your arms reach forward and up to the sky. Push into the left leg. And instead of sinking, we're pulling back so that we have a neutral pelvis, just like we found on our back. So sits bones towards the ground, right glute fires. Pull the head back if you need to. Now the hands come down, pull yourself back for a runner stretch. So you're going to bend the right knee, sit your hips back, lift your left toes, bend your left knee a little. Right knee is bent a lot. Let your left toes come down. Stay slightly bent in the left knee. We're going to step forward but come through a warrior 3. So hands go ahead of you, right leg lifts. And then step your right foot forward. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. As you lift, check in with the ribs. Pull your front ribs back so you're creating this length through the body. Exhale, bend your knees, sit the hips back, fingertips down. The left foot steps back, the left knee lowers. Arms reach forward and up. So you're in a low lunge. Again, check in with the ribs, check in with your head, lift up. Push into the right leg so you're not sinking forward. Left glute is on so that you get in that hip flexor. Hands come down, pull back for your runner stretch. Right toes can lift. Bend your left knee a lot, slight bend in the right. Spine is long. Now plant the hands down and the right foot steps back, down dog. Take a breath in. Exhale, shift forward into plank. Now feel the shoulder blades on the back. Lower the knees and lower to the ground. Baby cobra. Head of the arm bones stay in line with the torso as you pull the hands back and the chest forward. Lower just a little bit. Try not to let the head of the arm bones drop down. Keep them integrated in line with the torso. Now curl your toes. Lift the belly first, plank or modified plank, down dog. Okay, just like we did in dolphin, we're not sinking in the shoulders, so stay strong here. Push into the hands, try to lift in the back, not rounding, just lengthening. Right leg steps forward, the left knee lowers, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, bring the hands down, runner stretch. Pull back, left knee stays a lot bent. You're just lifting it off the ground. Now come to that warrior three with the hands down. So take your hands ahead, keep the right knee slightly bent, lift the left leg. Sit back into the right hip, spine is long. Step the feet together, inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come down. The right foot steps back, the left knee lowers, arms reach forward and up. Exhale your hands down, runner stretch, pull back. Hands come forward, step back into plank, lower the knees. Okay, now grab your block. We're going to take the block in between the thighs. Anywhere you'd like. I like the closer to the groin, closer as possible, as close as possible. Now, cat, cow in the shoulder blades. So retract and protract, and then find neutral. It might be a sense of slight protraction. Check the back of the head. Squeeze your block. Start walking the knees back so you're in a modified plank. Squeeze the block. Then think about your sits bones reaching towards your knees so you're in a neutral pelvis. Lower down. Block might slide. Baby cobra or cobra. Now, squeeze your block. Tuck your toes. Come up to the knees. Lower. Keep the head of the arm bones in line with the torso. Baby cobra. Lower just a little bit. Belly picks up first. Squeeze your block. Modified plank. Lower. Baby cobra. Belly picks up first. Modified plank. Lower. Baby cobra. Modified plank. Down dog. Okay, now from down dog, squeeze the block in between the legs, slight bend in the knees. Lift your hips up by creating length in the spine. Now start to walk the feet forward, squeezing the block. So it's just there for feedback for right now. Press into the feet, slight bend in the knees, and then lift all the way up. Squeeze your block. Exhale, hands to your heart. Now keep squeezing the block, and then standing, try to find a neutral pelvis. So if you feel like you're going into an anterior tilt, aka the top of the pelvis is coming forward, bend the knees a little bit. Keep squeezing the block, drop your tailbone down. We're not tucking and flattening the low back. You are tucking a little bit just in the pelvis. So pelvis can move, low back can move. We're asking just the pelvis to move. Find it. Squeeze your block. If you found it already, good. You're working. Squeeze it. Now, keep integrated here and pull the front ribs in, and then reach your hands forward. Reach forward into protraction and then back into retraction with the shoulder blades. So you're spreading them apart and then pulling them together. If we're going to balance on our hands, we need to know how our shoulder blades move. Feel them in retraction and then check in with the ribs. Okay, so they're pulling back. Now soften just a little bit so they're in neutral. Feel the head of the arm bones in line with the shoulders. Keep pulling the fingers towards the sky so our wrists are in active extension. Squeezing the block. All right, so Move a little bit more and then play with the ball. So bend your knees. Bring the hands all the way down. Keep feeling the shoulder blades on the back. Bend the knees as much as you need to. And then waddle it back. Plank. Feel the shoulder blades on the back. Sits bones towards your heels. Back of the head's lifted. Take one more inhale. And exhale. Now, lower the knees. And we'll take the block out. So the whole reason behind that is, again, getting the inner thighs. We're going to do one more flow and then go for it, okay? So remember everything we discussed and try to keep that as we move. Come up to your down dog. The left leg lifts. Lift and lower your right heel. Now you might push off the ball of the right foot, but remember we're not sinking in the chest. We're keeping the front pulling into the back. Now, step or hop your left foot about halfway up your mat. Like we found earlier, it's a warrior 3 with the hands down, right leg lifts. Bend your right knee and kick the heel up to the sky. So you might get a lot of pull here and you're feeling the glutes start to work even more. You can be on the fingertips or the hands down. Step your right foot back, the left leg lifts, 3-legged down dog. Bend your right knee, push off the ball of the right foot. Left leg about halfway up, warrior 3, the hands down. Bend your right knee, heel up. Right foot steps back, left leg 3-legged down dog. Push off if you'd like to. Left leg about halfway up, warrior 3, right leg lifts, bend your right knee, kick the heel up. Now extend your right leg and let your right leg cross over to the left, back to center. So feeling the inner thighs on a little bit more. Check in with the shoulder blades, check in with the back of the head. So if you feel like you're rounding a lot, bend your left knee more. All right, and then the right foot comes next to the left. So on everywhere. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, bend the knees, hands plant right under the shoulders. Step or hop back into plank. Don't lose the core integration. Try to remain neutral. Lower all the way down. Baby cobra or cobra. Lower part way, curl the toes, down dog. Okay, step the feet in a little bit. Right leg lifts. Lift and lower your left heel. You might push off the ball of the left foot. Right leg is coming halfway up the mat. Lift your left. You're on your right on the fingertips or the palms. Spine is long. Bend your left knee. Kick up with the left heel. Again, the left hip point is towards your mat. Just like we've been working, keeping the hips square. Because then that's not going to throw our balance off. Left foot steps back, right leg, 3-legged down dog, right leg lifts. Push off the ball of the left foot if you'd like to. Right leg about halfway up your mat. Lift your left leg. Bend your left knee, kick the heel up. Left foot steps back, right leg lifts, 3-legged down dog. Push off if you'd like. Right leg about halfway up. Left leg lifts. Bend your left knee, kick up. And then straighten. Let it cross over to the right and back to center. So you're feeling the inner thighs and the outer thighs all turn on in different areas. Pull the ribs in so that you're not flaring the chest forward. Okay, and then step both feet together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Now, grab your ball. If you don't have a ball and you want to, this is still really good prep for handstands. So you can stop here and work some stuff away from the wall with all of those ideas. So we're gonna grab the ball, just my shirt, so, okay. Now, we're gonna start the back of the mat. So you're gonna take your ball and take it all the way up to your shins. Bend your knees and put some weight into it so that it does not move. Bring your hands down. And then come forward into like a down dog, but keep putting the weight in the ball. All right, hopefully you're set up. Now, we're going to come into a plank with the the knees on the ball. So leave your hands, again, like a down dog in the upper body, and your knees are bent, pushing in first. And now we're gonna pull ourselves forward into plank position so the feet lift. So again, your knees are on the ball. The setup is important because if we go too far back, we're not going to have enough space to work. Feel the shoulder blades on the back. Now we're going to let our neck release some, because sometimes when we go to lift up, our chin goes forward, even down. Even if we're looking down, sometimes the chin's too far forward, and then we're trying to hold ourselves up with our neck. So try to keep the neck long, but we're going to drop it a little bit. So we're going to lift the hips up and over the hands. Hips up and over the hands. And then come back down. You got to put some pressure in the ball. Hips up and over. And down. One more time, up and over. And down. Okay. Walk it back. And then come up. Now, if that was super challenging, you can stay with that. If you need to know if you are up and over your shoulders, you can do this coming towards a wall. And I was like, I'll show you. Okay, so you can do this coming towards a wall. You're gonna do the same thing that we just did. You might want to rearrange your mat so you can pause if you'd like. Set up, push the knees in. We're going to crawl forward and then lift our hips up to be over our shoulders. So we're going to crawl forward. Hands are about 5 inches away from the wall. 6 inches maybe. Pull yourself forward and then lift the hips up. Now, you might come to the wall and feel it, and then I lose my ball. And feel where your hips are, just so you get that idea of coming forward. Because sometimes if fear is in the way and we can't get our hips far enough forward, then we're never going to find the balance. So you can use the wall in that way. But if you do all of this work, just stay back a little bit and just keep doing the work to bring yourself forward. I much prefer staying off of the wall. I lived and learned, right? Like, stay off the wall, you'll get there. Just come a little bit further back. Learn how to fall out. So we'll probably do that as well. So setting up back to the mat, bring your knees to the ball. Now this time we're going to lift a leg. So you're going to come forward like you're going towards a down dog, but again, set up, bending the knees, putting pressure into the ball. Now when we come forward into our pike, we're going to hold it, and you're going to flip your feet so that the balls of your feet are on the ball. One other thing, when we set up with the hands, our hands are not, fingers are not spread as wide as possible. When we're trying to go upside down, the weight is forward and back is what we're trying to balance. So you don't have to spread super, super wide. Soften just a smidge and see if that helps you. All right, so shoulder width apart with the hands. Pull yourself forward into plank and then right up into your pike. Now, you're on the tops of the feet first, and then you're going to flip so you're on the balls of the feet. Pick a leg. I'm going to lift my left. So now, left leg is to the sky. Right toes are on the ball, or they come off. And then, so say you're up, cartwheel out or come down. We have to learn how to fall too, because it's going to happen. Pick a side, make that your side that you always go to. Come back, reset. We're going to do the other side. Lean into the ball. Honestly, you might get one each side, or you might be able to go for a few more. Don't overdo it. Work it well. Work it well. Push into the ball. Walk forward like a down dog. Remember, check the hands. They're shoulder width apart. We're not sinking in the chest. Feel the shoulder blades on the back. Pull forward into plank. Think like cobra, but not sinking. So we want to stay so that we are broad in the chest and not rounding in the upper back. Lift the hips. Okay, come to the balls of the feet. Bend the knees as you need to. Right leg lifts. You might be on the other side. Okay, and then maybe you float the toes off, or you can leave it on the ball. Okay, and then cartwheel out. And you'll see, like, you pick a side and you do the same side. Okay, all right, so you can repeat that if you'd like to, or maybe that was it, and that's what you work on. You can do a couple more of the pike lifts, but honestly, all of that integration, all the work that we did beforehand is super important. Staying away from the wall is really important. Finding neutral, feeling the shoulder blades on the back. Because what happens if we round, we're not going to balance because we're trying to round so much that our shoulders can't go into flexion. So we want neutral, and then the shoulders can go up into flexion, and we really want to work these front ribs back so that we can find balance. So if there is, you can always find drills, or I can show you some in another video on opening up this space if your arms don't reach up and overhead without flaring the ribs. Okay, you can just come to the wall, back of the head, shoulder blades, sacrum on the wall, and then work that up, because you're not going to balance if you can't do that. So I hope this was helpful and fun. If you have the time and you want to do Shavasana, please do. If you want to take another class, do it. Stretch out the wrist, hands down, right? Roll through the wrist. Thank them for what they did for you, and I hope you enjoyed it.